Let's take you back now to Cape Town. Abra Barbier is with the State Security Minister Ayanda Dlodlo, who is now in Groote Schuur Hospital for her second vaccination site visit in the Western Cape. She's been taken to the vaccine storage facility to do inspection of the site. Minister Dlodlo is part of the interministerial committee doing an oversight visit at vaccination centres. Abra, what's the latest?
Desiree, thank you very much. So earlier we spoke to the Minister about just her general views on what she has seen and assessed during her first visit earlier today in Khayelitsha. I'm now going to ask her a few more technical questions. Minister, thank you again for joining us. In terms of the rollout, are we on track in terms of the dates that have previously been communicated to the public?
We are on track. Pfizer has already delivered this morning, I think 350,000, a batch of 350,000 this morning. On the 17th, we are receiving another batch of delivery from Pfizer as well. So we are on time and we are on track with regards to the deliveries.
Now, Minister, there's a lot of talk about us going into a third wave, especially now as we are heading into the cold, the winter seasons. And I see our daily infection rate is still at around over 1,000. Is government concerned at this point that we won't be able to get to enough people fast enough, especially now because of this cold season that we are going into?
I think what we've seen over time is that whether it is a cold season or hot season, the numbers fluctuate from time to time depending on super spreader events that are experienced at any given time. So the most important thing is for people to observe the rules and the regulations with regards to the protocols that are in place of washing hands all the time with soap and hot water, with the sanitizing, with putting your mask on all the time, and avoiding overcrowded spaces that always inevitably turn out to be super spreaders. So whether it is winter or summer really doesn't matter. The only issue is that we all have to take responsibility and ensure that we avoid the super spreaders.
Minister, speaking about super spreaders, we know that we have the elections coming up, the date's been announced, and if you think about people, we don't know what the situation is going to be then. It's much later in the year. We don't know what's going to happen by then. But in terms of, we know how it looks at voting stations. At some voting stations you might not have queues, while at others you might have long queues. Are there any plans in place? Are you talking to the IEC about just logistics in terms of the queuing and what it would look like inside voting booths?
Again, like I say, there are very explicit protocols that are set in place in legislation. There are protocols in place. There will be party agents throughout the voting session. There will be party agents that are going to be expected by all political parties and also the IEC to ensure safe distancing. The 2-meter distancing at voting stations will always be what would have to be observed. So when people come in, they would be expected to be sanitized, they will be expected to put on their mask, they'll be expected to oblige and follow the physical or the safe distancing. So I think we can't stop an election on the basis of the fact that there is COVID. Many countries across the world have had elections during the process of COVID, and a lot of them have never had an upsurge. So we can't use COVID as an excuse to not have elections in countries.
I'm going to stay with the issue of super spreaders, Minister. Yes, we all know the protocols, and I think there are many South Africans who are trying their best to practice those protocols. But if you go onto social media, we're seeing lots of protocols just being flouted. There are still clubs that are full. We're having parties, we're having big events where there are thousands of people packed next to each other with no masks. What message do you have for organizers of those events, and what kind of action is government taking to clamp down on those events?
The police have tried their best. The military have tried their best. They have also died as a result of trying to clamp down on ill behavior by our own people in terms of observing the rules and the protocols that have been put in place. But the onus really lies on individuals in ensuring that you are not the reason for the death of another person, by ensuring that you observe the rules, you observe the protocols. And the message is, let's do what is right to ensure that we are not the reason for the death of the next person.
Minister, thank you so much for your time. Well, there we have it. Minister of State Security Ayanda Dlodlo saying that government is doing as much as it can, and again appealing to South Africans to continue following those protocols, to continue observing those protocols, to make sure that they keep themselves and others safe. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Abra, and let's now take